Good evening and welcome to the Planning Board meeting, Wednesday, July 18th. The time is now 7:35. Call the meeting to order and we'll all rise to the flag. Chris, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, by email in the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to the same as provided by law of scheduling, including the date and time of this meeting. I would like to remind all members of the public that we have 3 fire exits, one in the back, one here, one over there. I would also like to remind everybody we're being recorded by both audio and video for purposes of creating a public record of this meeting. If any member of the public wishes to be recorded or heard, they need only identify themselves by stating their full name and address for the record, and they can make a statement or ask any questions they wish. The cameras are here, and you have to come to the table if you're going to make a statement. Roll call, please.
Councilman Acquafreda, Mr. Arakelian,
Here.
Ms. Boland,
Here.
Dr. Gortz, Mr. Mehrman,
Here.
Mr. Cross,
Here.
Castle, the Mayor,
Mayor is excused. Yeah, I know we can take care of that.
Mr. Cray,
Here. And that would be Councilman Caningo, I'm sorry, and you can cross that name out here. Mm-hmm. Now your fault. It should have been changed, and we'll take care of that tomorrow. We also have our planner, Mark Skurvitz, here this evening, and our zoning officer. First order of business is RSM Trading. That is the memorialization from the past approval. We do have one change to the memorialization that we're going to make. Is that correct, Steve?
yes, Mr. Mehrman's request, we're going to change on page 8. We are going to change number 12, that the applicant was required to submit revised signed and sealed plans for board approval. It was prior to the memorialization. It can now be within 15 days after.
And must include the landscape.
Which shall include landscaping plan. As amended.
As amended. Any other comments from the board members?
I think you may take a look at number 7, because I think that may encompass what you're looking to include in 12.
Yeah.
Well, the applicant did submit either yesterday or today, which I have already incorporated into the form here. It's a plan, revised sheet A2, entitled Proposed Outdoor Seating Plan, Existing First Floor Seating Plan, prepared by Gabriel Hanush, dated June 12, 2018. I've amended number 7 to incorporate that document into the resolution.
Good, Mr. Castle. Anybody else have any questions, concerns, or a motion to approve the resolution as corrected?
I'll make.
Mr. Merman, motion, second?
Second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
I will. Councilman Caningo?
Yes.
Mr. Arakelian?
Yes.
Ms. Boland?
Yes.
Ms. Mehrman?
Yes.
On vote?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. Mr. Grosso?
Yes.
Castle?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Right? So my sheet's correct.
I don't think you got Mr. Sedaris.
Mr. Sedaris?
You'll have to,
Okay, let me,
our our clerk just came back from being ill on Monday, so we'll have things fixed in the next meeting, for sure.
The role that they gave me, I'm sorry, didn't include you.
All right, so you have Mr. Sedaris and Gibbons.
Sorry.
Again.
And the vote,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons? Yes. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Let's make sure we have them as present at the meeting as well.
I have them.
Okay. Next up is the resolution for Newbar Casaria, 200 Manning Avenue, Block 705, Lot 13. There's an addition on their home. Everybody,
I'm not eligible.
okay?
Yeah, the
Hopefully.
eligible, say, Mr. Casson was absent, Dr. Gewurz was absent, and Mr. Sedaris was absent. Okay. On that resolution, that would be resolution,
I don't have the number.
204 Manning Avenue, Block 705.
200 Manning Avenue.
200.
200 or 204?
204.
All right, he's got 200 here. 204, okay.
On the resolution, is there a motion?
Motion to approve? Mr. Gibbons, second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bowman. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Arkelian.
Yes.
Mr. Chenino.
Am I eligible to vote on this?
Yes, you were here and you voted yes on the application.
Voted yes.
Thank you. Ms. Boland.
Yes.
Mr. Casson.
Abstain.
Abstain. Mr. Grasso.
Yes. Mr. Merriman voted no.
Mr. Merriman. Mr. Gibbons was.
Gibbons was here.
Yes.
Sedaris was not.
Sedaris was not.
And Michael
Mr.
was
Craig.
here? And Michael
And
Craig.
Mr. Craig.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is New York Market. Okay, so before we get started on New York Market, just a little bit of an update. They've gone out of business. So because they were approved by this board, they have sent a letter stating that they are, quote-unquote, abandoning their approval
Without prejudice.
without prejudice. So well, go ahead.
Well, without prejudice means that they can come back and ask for the same relief at a later date. But they have to go through, obviously, hearing. And this is just really, this is just withdrawing the application. That's all this does. Just to formalize something on the record, because they did submit something, so the board needs some sort of resolution.
So I think we
At
need
this
two
point.
votes. I think we need a vote to approve it and then a vote to abandon it. Is that correct? No?
No, I don't think you need a vote to approve it.
Did we actually
I
approve
think
that?
you just,
Recognize the
they're abandoning, all you have to do is recognize the
So
abandonment.
we're just gonna
Yeah,
recognize.
I wouldn't vote to approve it.
Okay.
They're
Okay, to
abandoning.
approve it, that would be a vote
To approve.
memorialization.
Correct, and
It's
that's,
already approved.
they're asking to withdraw.
Right.
They're
Well,
not
Doctor-
asking to approve.
Let the record show Dr. Gerwitz is here at 7:45. Good evening, Doc. How are you? Tired. I see that.
Tired.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, this is for abandonment of the application. Motion?
Do I have a motion to abandon the application?
So moved.
Caslin, second.
Councilman?
I'll second.
Mr. Merman?
Okay. Mr. Chinigo?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Boland?
Yes.
Dr. Gewurz? Did you
No,
hear
he
what
wasn't
we're
here.
doing? Did not hear, so I abstained. Okay, abstain. Thank you. Mr. Merriman?
Yes.
Grasso?
Yes.
Caslin?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
I don't think I was here.
Yeah, you were here.
Was I here?
Yeah, you were here.
Yes.
Mr. Sideris?
This is for,
This
yeah,
is-
you were here.
And Mr. Gibbons? Yeah.
Motion passed.
Motion passes, your application is granted. Do you sign these off here?
I do, yes. I'll
Okay.
just leave them.
Okay.
You can file. Oh, and so does Dr. Gerwitz.
Okay.
Okay. The next one up is for completeness review. This is Finn Ray, 107-109 Midland Avenue, Block 206, Lot 2. This afternoon, we received a letter stating that they wish to carry their application to the September 5th meeting. So you want to make the announcement, Steve?
Yes, they did in fact properly provide proof of service on 200-foot owners, which is in the file. They also submitted their affidavit of publication, which I did review. So everything was noticed properly for this evening. The board would have jurisdiction had they not carried. So anyone who is here with respect to the application for 107-109 Midland Avenue, that will be heard, what do you say, September 5. There won't be any further notice because it was noticed properly for this evening. So whoever's here, if anyone's here for that application, this is the notice that the matter will be heard September 5. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. I'm going to skip over the next application for now. We're going to go to Mr. Charles Height, 282 Taft Court, Block 1108, Lot 25, for an addition, front porch, covered patio, driveway expansion, front walkway, requires variance for impervious coverage. This is strictly for your reviewing the application for completeness. You're going to need to bring those green sheets up to green
Yes.
cards up to the attorney with the proof.
Yes,
Yep.
please, and your affidavit of publication. Thank you so much.
And while you're reviewing that, we'll go to our zoning officer.
The application plans are.
Thank you, Mr. Skirvitz. Any questions from the board while the attorney is reviewing the return cards?
Not regarding completeness.
Yep, okay.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I've looked at the, you know what, Mr.
Go ahead.
I would just, do you have a copy of the letter that you sent to the 200-foot owners?
So, we have our copy.
Let me see a copy of that.
And then this is also our original application of service coming to the
Sure. Okay. So I can report to the board, Mr. Chairman, that I've reviewed the letter that was sent to 200-foot owners, which was proper, and I can also indicate I have the green cards and the return receipts. And I'm looking at a publication that took place in the Ridgewood News,
This is acceptable.
which is acceptable, and that took place on June 29, 2018, at least 10 days prior to tonight's hearing, and the notice in the publication is correct, meets the statute requirements. Therefore, the board does have jurisdiction to hear the case.
Motion to approve this for completeness.
So made.
Mr. Mervyn, Mr. Gerwitz, Dr. Gerwitz. Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Chinigo?
Yes. And Ms. Canigo.
Chinigo. I'm sorry.
Chinigo.
One N.
How would you like me to say?
Chinigo.
Chinigo? Mr. Aratalian?
Yes.
Ms. Boland? Yes. Dr. Gewirtz? Yes. Mr. Merriman?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? Yes. Mr. Gibbons? Yes.
Ms. Hyde, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Next up is Mr. Scott Yoon, 183 Van Zorn Drive, Block 1209, Lot 2. Looking for 2 side yard setback variances, a rear yard setback variance, and a lot cover variance for a unroofed deck, patio, and driveway. Do you have your green cards with you?
Yes, hold on, I do have everything, Mr. I reviewed everything before the meeting, it was submitted to the clerk. And Mr. Yoon did properly forward notification to 200-foot owners, and he also did properly, let me find it. Yes, published in the record on June 18, and it was very detailed in his description of what he was looking for this evening, so the board does have jurisdiction.
Mr. Skirvitz. Motion to accept this to move forward.
So made.
Mr. Mervyn, second.
Second.
Was that Mr. Craig? Mr. Craig? Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilman Chinigo.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Ms. Boland.
Yes.
Dr. Gerwitz.
Yes.
Mr. Merriman.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Caslin.
Yes.
Mr. Gray.
Yes.
Mrs. Sedaris.
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons. Yes.
Now we're getting that down now.
I'll get it.
Mr. Yoon, thank you. We'll call you up when it's your turn. Mr. Craig? You're up. Let it be noted that the application is a board member, and he is stepping down from dais. Now he becomes the applicant. Mr. Michael Craig, 879 Park Avenue, Block 209, Lot 5. He's doing a property addition, front yard setbacks, and impervious coverage is being asked for. Good evening.
Okay, and I did review Mr. Cray's notifications prior to the meeting, Mr. Chairman. They are in order, as is his publication in the record on, the Ridgewood News, which is acceptable, one of your designated newspapers, publications, and that took place on June 22, 2018, and the notice was appropriate and in the form required by statute. The board has jurisdiction.
Mr. Skirvitz. A motion?
So made.
Second.
Mr. Mervyn, Mr. Castellan.
Roll call, Councilman Chinigo.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Boland.
Yes.
Mr. Gewirtz.
Yes.
Merriman.
Yes.
Grasso.
Yes.
Caslin.
Yes.
Craig.
Ah,
He's the applicant.
Ah.
Abstain, I think.
no, he's not
He's
even.
not even abstaining, he's not sitting. Mr. Sedaris. Mr. Gibbons. Yes.
Could stay, Michael.
Might as well, yeah, let's.
Okay. That is for the completeness part of the hearing. Next up, we're going to go into new business. First application is Mr. Michael Cray, 879 Park Avenue, Lot 209. Block 209, Lot 9. And again, as previously stated, it's a property addition. He's looking for 2 front yard setbacks and impervious coverage for variances. And you are
I'm Christine.
Christine
Craig.
Craig. Okay.
My architect is here, I was gonna have him do the presentation,
Okay.
kind of like not having all of that himself.
Okay. Have him come. Yeah, he's gonna see, swear, you can swear the three of them in.
And who's the show?
He's my architect, John.
The architect, okay. Would you all raise your hand?
Gonna give him the microphone.
Solemnly swear that the testimony that I'm about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do. Thank you.
Or, I was just gonna say, are both of you gonna testify? If not, you can let him. Have a seat, relax. Yep, we can bring that up. Bring right over here so everybody can see it. Yeah, we'll just bring it back, no, back. That's good right there. And sir, I'm just gonna ask you to speak up, because quite honestly, I'm hard of hearing, so. Perfect, welcome to the crew.
I didn't catch it.
My name is John D'Ambrosio, I'm the architect,
D-A-M-B-R-O-S-I-O.
and D-apostrophe-A-M-B-R-O-S-I-O.
You have a business card for our attorney?
Yeah.
Make it easy.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. D'Ambrosio, are you licensed in the state of New Jersey?
I am
Have you ever testified before boards such as this?
legally,
Okay. How long you've been practicing as an architect in New Jersey? A long time, I assume? Okay.
I think he's good to work, good, everybody's good?
Qualified?
Welcome aboard.
Just put your license number on the record if you could. You have it with you?
memorized.
Isn't it on the card?
It's on the seal on the phone.
Is it?
Can you see it?
Do you want it? Do you want it?
Yeah, if you can see it, copy it.
21A1 00 655300.
Thank you.
Okay. A 5 or 3?
All right, let's continue.
My name is John D'Ambrosio, and I'm the architect representing Christine and Michael Craig, who are the homeowners of 879 Park Avenue. The purpose of this zoning review is to convert the existing open court to interior space which will provide some much-needed improvements to their living conditions. The subject house, 879 Park Avenue, is located on a corner property, which means it has 2 front yards. You have the drawing?
Yeah,
What do you see not going in through? One front yard on Park Avenue, one front yard on Spring Valley Avenue. And the property happens to be a 1.4-inch lot size, which seems to be difficult for many houses in this neighborhood. Our property is 50 foot wide instead of 75 foot, and 5,000 square feet instead of 7,500 square feet. The front of the house is a covered porch which has many units except for travel from the street to the front door. This is the house. This is the porch. And that's the room. porch measures about 8 foot deep by 25 foot wide. The house itself is only 26 foot wide. The ground floor consists of 3 rooms, a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen located in the rear. I call them rooms, but they're actually areas. Look at drawing A4. 2 main areas, the living room and the dining room, are side by side, and they share a common wall with a 6-foot opening between them. There are no hallways. In some cases, that's considered a good thing in an open plan design, but not so good when you require some privacy. The grades have a 14-year-old son, Liam, who's going to the 10th grade. Liam is a serious student. Since the 4th grade, Liam has been taking lessons to learn Chinese. Today he is fluent in language. This is quite an accomplishment. When Liam wants some privacy to study or entertain his friends, I think it's a shame that he was forced to his bedroom to help him make his bed. I'd like to point out another inconvenience. When the guests enter the house, first closet they find is the kitchen, the hanging clothes in the back of the chair, because the only closets are located on the 2nd floor. When you do enter the front door in the wintertime, you're first greeted by the north wind that blows up from the Hackensack River ocean, just across the street and down the hill from the site. In the wintertime, the grades keep a heavy drape covering the front door to keep the air from entering the house. The proposed addition basically replicates the porch's footprint, thereby converting the outside space into interior space. In doing this, it also allows for an entry vestibule that provides a buffer between the iliac doors and the comfortable interior space. That can be seen on drawing A3. With the new interior space, we also able to carve out a much desired coat closet. Can be seen on A3. On the dining room side, we created an 8x8 room with able to study, where Liam can do his homework and entertain his friends with a reasonable degree of privacy. On the living room side, we located a gas fireplace that adds to the charm and might add warmth to the space. The existing front wall on the ground floor will be removed and the existing old school double hung windows.
Yeah, have a seat, relax.
Hello?
That's much better.
Okay. Should have done that in the first place. Anyway, in the dining room side, we created an 8x8 room we labeled study, where Liam can do his homework and entertain his friends with a reasonable degree of privacy. On the living room side, we located a gas fireplace that adds to the charm and I might add warmth to the space. Oh, I already did that. The existing front wall on the ground floor will be removed, and the existing old school double hung windows will be, the beautiful stained glass transom below will be removed, carefully stored, and reinstalled on the new walls to maintain the charm and quality of the original design. On drawing A3, we also show an emergency generator along the north side of the house, facing Spring Valley Avenue, which I believe only needs a building permit, but I mentioned it only to play it safe. In order to accomplish these improvements, we need the approval of 3 variances. They can be seen on drawing A1. Front yard setback on Park Avenue requires a 30-foot setback. The existing is 12'7", the proposed is 7'9", and
and the difference is 4.8 feet, which is 56 inches. Front yard setback on Spring Valley Avenue requires 30 feet. The existing is 17.9 feet, and the proposed is 17.9 feet, no change. Impervious lot coverage, 35% coverage is allowed, 43.6% is existing, and 44.9% is proposed, which is only a 1.3% increase. The street in question is, actually regarding the setbacks, the street in question is Park Avenue, which is a 30-foot wide street with a 50-foot wide right-of-way. See the survey. Subtracting the 30-foot road from the 50-foot right-of-way results in a 10-foot on each side of the road, which means the right-of-way is the first 10 feet from the face of the curb towards the house, which can be seen on the survey. That is where your front yard, where your front property line starts, and from that point to the face of the house is your front yard setback. An example using the subject property is
One more, please.
Can we mark all the photographs and the diagrams as one exhibit? Applicant, we'll just refer to applicant 1, just A1. And that will let the record reflect that would be all of the documents.
17.9 is the curve to the property. 10-foot right of way, and 7-foot 9 is that in the front yard. We took measurements in the neighborhood, and 864 Park Avenue has a 15.7-foot dimension from the face of the curb to the house. Subtracting the 10-foot right-of-way, you have a 5'7" front yard.
I'm sorry, could you just tell me what was the address for that property?
864 Park Avenue.
864 Park, and their front yard is how much?
Let's try something. Can you two switch seats? Take the microphone, put it right up to your mouth so we can really hear you. Bring it closer. Don't be afraid.
Hello? Oh,
No.
I can hear that
That's
from
good.
my car.
We can hear you.
So 864 Park, Mr. D'Ambrosio, has what present front yard setback?
What it has 15.7 feet from the curb to the face of the house.
Right.
Take away your 10-foot right-of-way, you now have a 5.7-foot front yard. 862 Park Avenue, which is a sister building next door, has the same measurements as a 5.7-foot front yard. And 809 Park Avenue, which is down off Grove Street, has a 16-foot measurement from the face of curb to the face of house. Minus the 10-foot, you have a 6-foot front yard. Now 809 Park Avenue is also a corner lot. So off Grove Street, it measures 11.8 feet from the house to the curb. Taking away the set 10-foot right of way, you have a 1.8-foot front yard. We believe a precedent exists whereby undersized lots with valid expansion needs have resulted in approved front yard variances such as the ones I have just reviewed. Accordingly, we respectfully request, on the basis of the real quality of life improvements being proposed, that these 3 variances be approved.
anything else you want to add?
No.
Mr. Skurbitz, I see you, your head spinning around a little bit over there.
Measurements were taken of vacant properties from the curb. The plan presented to me earlier this year, and the plan that we have before you, final plan I reviewed, the front yard setbacks are actually taken from the property line, which does not coincide with the curb. For clarification. So based on the plan presented, the setbacks, as indicated in our letter of denial, based on the plan and the property line on that plan.
Is there a sidewalk in front of your property?
Yes,
Is there a sidewalk in front of the properties that you've talked about?
yes,
Okay. So you're taking the measurements from those homes and taking them to the curb?
in order to establish what the setback is, you had to take it from the curb and then subtract the 10-foot right of way. But the driveway is the sidewalk.
10 foot in from the curb is a general rule of thumb for older streets or right of way width. Doesn't always hold, but I think it's a general assumption in this neighborhood, that's pretty accurate.
Well, Mr. Skurbitz, just so I'm clear, the measurements that Mr. D'Ambrosio gave with respect to the other houses, are they the same as the measurement that's being sought here, which is the 7.9?
I can't answer that because I'm familiar with those measurements on the curb.
Okay.
I would have to see a plan to ascertain them.
Okay. Is Mr. Cra- Mr.
Yeah, I think another way to do it is just go straight down the street.
Right.
Houses come out from the other houses or they pretty much in line. And I think that's the objective of that survey that the gentleman performed. Are the houses in line? Are they pretty close to the street? I think that's what we're going to do.
So your sworn testimony is that all the houses are in conforming as you look up and down the street, is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes. The front of the house is not the same because the setbacks vary, but the right of way is constant.
So the setbacks vary, but the right-of-way remains constant, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Right directly across the street from our house is 880 Park Place, and that one has 23-foot distance from the curb to the house.
There's no sidewalk on that side of the street, correct?
There is. There is.
I think for this particular application, and this particular property, I'll just say this. The front yard setback on Spring Valley is over the existing setback coming on the road.
Right.
The front yard setback from Park Avenue, the encroachment is basically because of the porch, not the main structure. That's pretty much close to this area there. Might be a little bit of encroachment further. So I think that's important for we really want to focus on what's actually being proposed here at this location.
Is everybody on the board clear at what they're trying to accomplish? Everybody understand what they...
Well, Mr. Chair,
Please.
as the zoning officer said, I'm more concerned with the setback to the building, which remains the same, basically. You enclose the porch. Okay, that wall has not moved. The variance in the front yard's being driven by the new access, which is the stair and the entry. That's where that setback changes. Question, which I think your architect was leading to, when we look at that new entrance, the stair and so forth, how does that, what's that relationship with similar ones in that neighborhood? And and I believe if I'm hearing you correct, without putting words in your mouth, it's gonna be pretty much the same.
Uniform.
Uniform,
Okay.
I would say that we're probably actually still set back farther than in the rural houses. There are others that absolutely are supposed to be
Right.
I don't think we're considered to be appropriate area.
So, let's go one step further. So we're saying that your proposed new setback is in relationship with the new, with the neighborhood, and you're not bringing any detriment to the neighborhood as a result. Okay,
Well said.
thank you.
Is there anybody else on the board at this point that have any questions? We'll go to the right side first. My favorite side.
I would just probably agree, I did drive the street, I would say that probably the case, but it's fairly similar to what's on the lot there.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbons. Anything else? Doc? How about the left side? Councilman? Good. Bowler? Okay, our planner, any,
Okay.
Basically, it is a non-conforming lot in size and width. The corner lot, it's one side yard and only the front yard, so now you have two front yards, side yard and rear yard. So it's very constrained. So it's a very little lot.
difficult area down there? Mm-hmm.
And the pre-existing conditions of the lot.
I've got a couple more items.
Please,
Okay.
Mr. Mervyn.
So tonight, we're also going to approve the pre-existing non-conforming variances, correct?
I think they were already approved.
No.
No?
Well, there are nine.
Well, you're right in the sense that because of what exists and the
Right, we
on-site
gotta
nature,
recognize them.
you do have to,
Okay.
that's why they have recognized them on the chart, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
They're all driven, they're the same, there were no changes,
That's correct.
but yes,
They have to be noted.
they have to be noted.
Okay, so, and the only other new variance is the lot coverage. Okay. Would you say the amount of additional lot coverage is minimal?
Yeah, kind of a de minimis.
Okay, it is de minimis, okay. You're proposing believe a new generator. How does that,
Let me just stop you for a second. Could I just put one in? Generators do not require any site plan, they don't even require a copy of the survey. All you have to do is apply for your electrical and plumbing. So it doesn't have any bearing on this.
okay.
It doesn't affect
Including
anything,
set-
lot coverage or anything.
Including setbacks?
Correct. That is
Okay,
correct.
all right, that's, I want to get that on record.
Yep.
But we do know that the generator is not a fence.
That, yes. But there is no requirement for it to be.
There's no requirements at
Okay,
all. I was surprised myself.
All right.
Probably something that the mayor and council may have to take up in the future, just to keep going back. Because it is a new phenomenon that's coming to town, and they probably know that there should be some sort of location or anything else, right? Maybe put it anywhere.
One,
But that doesn't have any bearing on tonight.
one final question. On my site visit, for the record, can you tell me what the hell you feed those tomato plants in the back? They are mini trees.
She's got the green thumb.
All right.
Well, we can do that after the meeting.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments, questions from the board? Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to open to the public.
Second.
That would be Mr. Gerowitz, Mr. Castle, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? At this point, we're open to the public. If anybody has any questions, concerns about this particular application, now is your time to speak. Anybody? Seeing nobody willing to step up, do I have a motion to close?
Second.
Dr. Gerowitz, Mr. Coslin, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, At this point, we're at the point of the meeting where I'd be looking for a motion to approve this application. Dr. Gerowitz?
I make a motion to approve the application, the setbacks for the non-conforming lot and the impervious coverage as required.
All right, and our attorney will make a note of those additional variances that have to be part of this application, correct?
Yes, and yes.
Whatever non-conforming that there is. will now
Everything
be-
that existed and was in non-conformity remains, and is technically a variance.
Mhm.
Mr. Merriman is correct.
And I'll second the motion.
Mr. Murray.
I'm sorry. who made the motion?
So that was Dr. Gerowitz and Mr. Murray. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Canigo?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Boland?
Yes.
Dr. Gerowitz?
Yes.
Merriman?
Yes.
Rosso?
Yes.
Caslin?
Yes.
Correct. Bobby, you vote on your own. Mr. Sidaris? Yes. Mr. Gibbons? Yes.
Sir, it was a pleasure to meet you. Ms. Craig, pleasure to meet you tonight. Michael, good luck. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so. Mr. Charles Heck. This is 282 Taft Court, block 11008, lot 25. There's an addition for a front porch, covered patio, driveway expansion, and front walkway. Requires variance for impervious coverage. So it doesn't look like there's any side yards or anything like that, or rear yard, just impervious coverage. And Mr. Heck, are you representing yourself professionally? Height, I'm sorry. I should know, right? Are you representing yourself as a professional tonight as well?
And if needed,
Okay. Mr. Height is a licensed professional planner,
Yes.
so it's up to you how you want to proceed with that.
we can get that portion, I guess, if you want. I mean, if you want to do it in the beginning, you have to.
Well, if you're going to testify and you're going to use your professional license for that, then we should do that right in the beginning.
Don't have a license, that's the problem.
Right. Yep.
Raise your right hand, please, both. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, self God.
I did.
Just, if you would, just spell your first name for me.
Jenna, Jenna. Middle initial M as in Mary.
Mr. Height, Mr. Height, you're gonna enter the public hearing, not only on behalf of yourself, but also as a planner. Why don't you just tell the board quickly?
I'll qualify myself.
Your qualifications.
Good evening, board members. My name is Charles Height. I am a resident of River Edge, so I'm happy to be here on that part if you live in town. I also am a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey. My role is actually very much like this, of appearing before various boards throughout the state. This week, I'll be in 7 municipalities. I usually am out 2 to 3 nights a week. This year, I've been part of about 50 or so site plan applications, which range gamut from single-family homes, commercial, all the way to multifamily, industrial uses.
Mr. Height, highly recommended to me from the Borough of Stoutenburg, so I would move that he be accepted by the board. Everybody good?
So moved.
Can we begin?
Excuse me, Chairman. I may have to excuse myself shortly.
Okay. Do you want to go?
No, I'm going to see how long I can, we'll see if I have to. I'm just letting you know that I have to excuse myself, so I'm going to start and try to stay for the application.
Okay.
But Mr. Height, you're going to testify without your architect.
Without our architect.
That's
But
I'm comfortable going over the plans. We've prepared every detail of them with the architect, and generally they're conforming, but for the impervious coverage, which isn't necessarily building architectural scope of work. So
I'm just interrupt you for 1 second. Doc, just give me a 2-minute warning before you have to go, because I do want you to sign a resolution before you leave.
That's why I'm giving you the warning.
Yep, we'll take a couple-minute recess in the middle. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Hay.
let me take a minute to introduce myself. I am a professional planner. I've been practicing for about 10 years. My wife and I both grew up in Bergen County. In 2011, we decided to purchase a home, and after looking for many months, we said River Edge is amazing, and we purchased our starter home. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch. You see it in some of the pictures in the plans. Since then, it's been about 7 years since we purchased, and now we have 2 children and a dog. All of our bedrooms are located on one end of the house, so when our youngest, who's 2, wakes up at about 5:30, we pray that he doesn't wake up the older, who's 4. About 6 o'clock that usually happens, and then our day begins. I usually don't get home until about 10:30 at night, so days are short. It's part of the reason for our main purpose is an addition on our home. Before we got to this point, we did look around at purchasing another home, selling our home. We did have a realtor at one point, and then we started to realize that we love where we are. We love our house, we love our neighbors, we love the portion of the town where we live in. We walk to the park, so there are a lot of things that we couldn't find elsewhere. So that kind of said, well, what can we do on our home to accommodate our growing family and our needs? One of that was putting a second-story addition on. Essentially moving the bedrooms upstairs, renovating the full first floor, putting in a staircase, obviously, to get to the second story, new renovation of the kitchen. We also, one of the aspects was a great room that we've included in the plans. And we did consider, one of the main issues is keeping the bedrooms. We do only need 3 bedrooms, 1 for ourselves, 1 for each child. We do have a 4th room upstairs. It's more of like a playroom. There'll be board games, maybe a TV, but that's the purpose of that room. And on the main floor, it's a kitchen, the family room, one extra room off of that, a dining room, and one of the additions on the house, but for the second-story addition, is a bump out in the rear of the garage. Right now, our garage door is about 4 feet. You can look closely. This weekend, I suffered some damage to my head, so it's a non-compliant doorway. We would look to improve that, kind of create a mudroom space in the back of the garage. That bump out in the back is about 130 square feet. It's shown on the cover sheet in the rear, but also the detail of it is shown on SK1 through crawl space. That would be the portion of the building addition. Really, those are, I covered everything, kind of went over SK2, which is the ground floor. So you see the first image in the top is existing, and a comparison of proposed below it. Moving on to SK2, see the garage. We are looking to widen the garage. We initially reached out to the town planner to see if we can just widen the driveway. At that point in time, it was the town's understanding that you can't widen the driveway without widening your garage. So we said, okay, let's do that so we get a wider driveway. And then essentially widening the garage places some restrictions on laying out the rest of the house. So our architect said, if you do this, your plans will be impacted on the floor plan. And we decided that we'll go ahead and widen the driveway, the garage. The main purpose for widening the driveway is, as you can see from the site plan, we live on a cul-de-sac. Our front yard radius is about 50 feet. We have tried, we stopped parking a car in front of our house. We've had 3 accidents to date. This is an odd configuration in the spot. There is an island, but trucks, garbage trucks, other vehicles, delivery trucks trying to turn with the vehicle parked there. We've gotten clipped a number of times. So we can't park in front of our house. Luckily, we spoke with our immediate neighbors to the left of us, the Sarkissians. They let us park there when their family isn't around, and we usually park our cars in our driveway. The problem is having a one-car wide driveway with two working professionals. She leaves the house at about 6:30. We always have to shuffle the cars, and it just creates some logistical issues. We do have the parking island. Again, we parked there one time, and our car got clipped. Really, you can only accommodate 6 vehicles on that space. We try and share them amongst the 6 homes, but on a standard width 75-foot lot, you have 2 parking spaces on your driveway, and you get 2 parking spaces in front of your house. We have to share ours in our little cul-de-sac. So that was the need and some of the reasons for creating a wider driveway. I'll flip to the last sheet that shows the first sheet, the rendering. Part of the other impact of impervious coverage is the porch. So that's a new area. Because we're trying to maintain our existing footprint, and that obviously creates some unique aspects to the project. Working around an existing footprint, we worked with our architect to get a varied building facade. One of the challenges is when you have a straight line for your front facade, we wanted to avoid just coming up 2 stories and having a blank wall. So what we did was step back the right side, left side, and a little portion in the middle. The problem is when you do that in the middle, you create a very odd angled awning, and it looked out of character. We took some inspiration from our neighbors who are 2 houses over, who also have a porch, and it just looks as a better aesthetic, and it's consistent with the neighborhood. A lot of the newer homes with porches are very similar to this over the doorway in our neighborhood. We also have the gables on the roof line, which was an addition to the initial plans as well. That's very in keeping with the newer homes being put up in our area. So yeah, the challenges was working within the existing footprint, and that's kind of where we are today with the floor plans and the proposed porch, as well as the driveway. Does anyone have any questions on the plans or?
We'll get to that. Are you finished that, Brian?
Well, that's the plans. I still can address the variance that we're requesting.
So go ahead, finish that.
Okay. So we are requesting a lot impervious coverage variance. We're currently at 39.7. We're proposing 44.2. The proposed garage, wider driveway, is about 300 square feet. The proposed porch is about 154 square feet. Those are the only 2 areas of new impervious coverage. When you add that, you get an increase in about 4%. As I mentioned earlier in my testimony, there's some unique physical characteristics of this site. One, we're working within the existing footprint of the building. We're not demolishing it. We're not raising it and starting from scratch. We are keeping the rear patio, rear pool, so that just presents some tangible issues working around that. But I would say that there are also benefits to the proposed project. Obviously, we're putting a lot of investment in this home. Our home was originally built in 1940. I don't know how many times it's been, chemicals have been put into the ground to test for termites, but we had extensive termite damage. When we bought the home, we had to repair the main cross beam in the house. We're looking to do all that major repair work at this point. There's no way we would be putting this much investment into a home with severe termite damage. So to that extent, it's improvement to the home. It's improvement in existing housing stock. Getting to the negative, I would also say a benefit is relieving some of the parking demand on the street. We do have 2 grown kids. They will eventually probably have vehicles if it's not autonomous at the point they drive. But we do have 2 older parents, both living on their own at this point. My mom, she's in her 70th year, going strong. My father-in-law is about 67. So in due time, I can imagine one of them, both of them moving in under certain circumstances, which they may have a vehicle, they may not, but that's another future planning issue. So providing an additional parking space in the garage and parking spaces in the driveway would be an improvement and reduce the demand on the public right-of-way, the public street parking. I guess I can address the negative criteria. This is my job. I love doing it with my fellow residents. I don't believe there's any substantial impairment to the zone plan. We're permitted single-family use in a single-family zone. We are requesting the relief that is on the plans. So there's no substantial impairment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance. I also will say there's no substantial detriment to public welfare. Impervious coverage basically serves two main reasons. It's one, to reduce heat island effect, and two, to control for stormwater impact. Generally, in this instance, on this scale, you're really just addressing sheet flow. Our proposed additional impervious coverage is in the front of yard. It's all going to be directed to this public street, which will flow into the sewer. There will be no sheet flow from the additional impervious coverage onto any adjoining neighbor. The properties to the rear are higher in elevation. The properties to the side, we don't have any existing impacts on stormwater to them, and the proposed impervious coverage and where it is won't have any impacts in the future. So I don't see any substantial detriment to the public welfare. I guess that's the direct testimony as a planner, but be happy to answer any questions about the plan.
So 67 is when you get to move back in with your kids? Is that what you're saying? May I speak? Mark, please.
Most of the impervious coverage that is creating the variance condition is the driveway expansion and the walkway that accesses the extended part of the driveway to the front porch. And in effect, Mr. Height testified to that he's going to be taking two additional cars off the street
To the neighbors. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the walkway is always important, and walking the driveway to the house. Handicap accessible, I'm not sure, like, for anybody getting out of the car, you don't want to walk across the lawn or unimproved area. Other than that, like, the lot is odd-shaped, but the applicant has met all the other zoning criteria on setbacks, and lot coverage is huge coverage, so kind of match that on that, but it's still meets the zoning ordinance.
And then, of course, if the engineer reviews these plans and decides that you need additional stormwater, you'll deal with it.
Yeah, we're prepared to address that. We were advised by the building department that that's obviously not before this board. It's with
The engineer reviews all these plans.
Right.
If he requires you to put a pit in, then you would, that would be part of our approval.
Correct.
Chairman?
Yes, Doctor. All right, I'm going to ask for a 2-minute recess for everybody, just so we can, the doctor can sign some documents. Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? 8:45 p.m. And we are still hearing the testimony from Mr. Height, and I believe he's finished. We've heard from our planner, and we are on the question and answer period for the board.
Can I just add one?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Height, as Mr. Mehrman said in the earlier application, you do have one pre-existing
Correct.
shortage. That's on your side.
Side yard, yeah. The left side yard is 6.7 feet from the property line. Yes.
All right, 5 inches. So the board is recognizing the fact that that's also a technical.
Correct. And we worked with the board planner to not exacerbate that condition. We actually set back that portion of the facade. That kind of was part of the integration with the variations and stuff. So actually, the second addition is compliant with the setback.
What's the footage between proposed existing driveway and the neighbor's lot line?
The proposed, it's on the interior.
At its shortest. What's the shortest?
The addition is going to the right.
Scale.
Yeah, the
Looks
addition
like-
is internal to the lot, so
Is
it's
it less?
at least 11 feet away from where the existing driveway. The existing driveway runs about a foot off the property.
Okay.
So no side yard, he's 11 feet. Okay, on my right side, were you finished?
I didn't start.
Okay.
Um,
Well, let's start over here. Oh, good.
One question, on the new covered patio in the back, is that spanning the existing patio so that it's not adding coverage?
Yeah, it's essentially a reconfiguration of that patio space.
Okay.
And it's over the existing pavers, so it's
Right,
not
as I said, there's an
extending.
existing, right, so the coverage really hasn't
Yeah, the
changed.
rear yard doesn't change and the coverage here.
Okay, so then the sidewalk, the driveway, the front patio, the front porch, and the small addition that's adding to coverage.
Yeah, so the small addition is also over the patio, so it's not impacting impervious coverage, but
Okay.
we comply with building coverage.
Okay.
Michael, is that good?
Yep.
Mr. Mervin?
Mrs. Gurvich, the impervious calculation, I assume that includes the pool?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the next slide. That's a built-in pool, correct?
That's
It's
below
built
grade.
in.
So, the-
1400 square feet with the patio.
so that's basically driving up the impervious is the pool.
14% of the lot.
Okay.
That's almost
Yeah, it's a big,
10,000. Right.
yeah, all right. Couple quick questions. Your drawings indicated a new fence.
Yes,
I believe you said it was vinyl.
yes,
Can you, what height are you planning?
6 feet.
6 feet. And that's the 6-foot side yard is okay, Mrs. Gurvich, on the fence?
Yes.
Okay, fine, so you meet the code.
Correct.
You're expanding the driveway. What are we doing with the drop curb?
It would be widened.
Does this town, maybe Mrs. Gurvich, you can answer this, I think it varies from town to town. Do we permit widening the driveway drop curbs?
Yes.
Oh, this town does.
20 feet, you can have 20 feet max unless your lot is over 100 feet
Okay.
wide, then it's 20%.
Okay. So you'll have
Up
to
to
adhere to,
20.
And our driveway is 20 feet wide.
Yeah.
okay,
The driveway maximum size, no matter what size the lot is, 20.
20 feet, okay. That was it? Yeah. Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
Well, we're not there yet.
Well, you're gonna have a really nice house, and you're basically on a dead end, which is great for raising children.
To my left side, sir? Councilman? Anybody? All right, at this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to open to the public. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed, any abstained? At this point, anybody in the public wish to speak? I see 2 people, and they're both shaking their head no. I'll entertain a motion to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, at this point, we are at the point of looking for a motion to approve this application. So moved.
Second.
That was, who was that? Mr. Starrett? And Mr. Merman?
Yep.
And that would call for a roll call, sir.
Okay. Councilman Canigo? Yes. Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Moulder?
Yes.
The words of Mr. Merriman?
Yes.
Ms. Frost?
Yes.
Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Cray?
Yes.
Mr. Sedaris?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbons?
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Height, congratulations. Good luck on your home.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
There will not be a meeting the first week in August, but there will be the third week. So you can expect a memorialization then.
Yep, go ahead.
So the memorialization will be the third week.
Okay.
Then
Can we submit building plans without that, or?
Sure.
Can submit building
Yep.
plans?
I
You just,
appreciate it.
at your own risk, of course.
Appeal period,
Mhm.
45 days.
Yep. Have a good evening. Okay, last but not least, we have Mr. Scott Young. Good evening, sir. This is Mr. Scott Young, 183 Van Zorn Drive, Block 1209, Lot 2. He's looking for 2 side yard setback variances, a rear yard setback variance, and a lot coverage variance for an unroofed deck, patio, and driveway. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So a little bit about ourselves.
Just move the microphone a little closer.
That's the swear you in.
Oh.
Are you going to testify as well?
If I need to.
Okay, so why don't you take,
Raise your right
we have
hand.
the 2-for-1 special.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And just let me get your... Christine is your first name?
Yes.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so a little bit about us is that our actually background story is strikingly similar to Mr. Hype. I guess it's a trend in River Edge. We are 2 working professionals. We got married back in 2011, got pregnant in 2012, and we were looking for a house in a nice neighborhood. So we found a starter home, just like Mr. Hype, right on Van Zorn Drive in River Edge at 183 Van Zorn Drive. It needed a lot of work. A lot of the infrastructure was dated. Roof was, I would go up every year to fix the flat roof. A lot of the, TLC was needed. One thing led to another. We decided that it's rather than investing in fixing these things in piecemeal, we decided to improve our home. And more, I guess, more of a motivational factor there was that fast forward from 2012 to I think 2 years ago, we had 3 beautiful children. And so we went from family of 2 in 2012 to family of 5, just within about 4 or 5 years. So, we were blessed that, we were able to, have 3 children. Another factor for our home improvement, which was done back in February of this year, was that my wife's parents, my father-in-law is 73 and my mother-in-law is 68, if I'm not mistaken. They're looking to retire. They have a small mom-and-pop shop in Englewood that's not doing so well, so they're planning to retire hopefully this year. So the much-needed space within our house was, fortunately, we were able to add that space for them. So they're looking to, retire and sell their store and move in with us. So we're going from actually family of 2 to family of 7. The variance that we're requesting is for a little more space on the outside. As you mentioned, we're looking to build the patio in the backyard, expanded the existing deck, and also widen the driveway so that our kids and our in-laws can have their own space outside as well to do their social gathering and also park their car as well. So we do have 2 cars right now, and they will be bringing 1 additional car, and obviously when our kids have driver's license, there could be potentially more cars. So we would like to park our cars on our driveway to relieve the free up some space on the street as well. So that's the gist of what we wanted to kind of go through as far as the background is concerned and reason for variance. I can go through the variance itself if that's okay. Yep. So the first one I'll go over is the side yard setback on the left-hand side of the drawing. that was the existing nonconformity when we bought the house. So when we expand, as we expand the deck and square off it's an odd shaped deck, and then we want to square that off. As we do that, we wanted to kind of continue that 2-yard setback out to where the deck ends. So that's the 2-foot side yard setback. And then the combined side yard setback is as I understand, it's the left and right side setback from the property line. And I believe the required setback is 18 foot, and we'll go, we're at 17 foot. Again, that's the existing nonconformity there. And also deck, as we square off that, deck, or make it square, or the expanded deck will be about 24 feet off of the back property line. So that'll be a nonconformance to 25 required. And with the addition of the expanded driveway, I do have actually a bigger copy. I apologize.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
You want to
Yep.
pass them out? Chairman. I'll share with you.
No, I don't want
I'll share with you. I have one of them. Yeah, that helps.
The same? Same as plans we already had.
On the other side?
Yeah, well, you can read it for larger.
On the left.
That's the same, so it doesn't have to be
Yep.
more.
It's the
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, ask the question.
Well, can you show me, maybe I'm reading this incorrectly, where's the rear yard variance? From what point of the deck? Let's see.
Where it's square off in the left right corner.
Where it's squared off?
Right.
The rear yard is just the shortest, on the lot, 14-foot long lot on the rear yard. So where the deck is squared off on the left side, it's continually the non-conforming side yard setback, and then it's 24-foot setback from the rear property line, and we need 25.
From the deck?
Yeah, for clarification, the deck, I included in my letter of denial, the citation over the decks are not considered accessory structure. So historically, this has been reviewed as a principal structure, particularly when it's attached to the house. It's an extension of the principal structure, which requires all setbacks to be met. It's not lot coverage.
But what I'm not understanding, this proposed paver patio and platform,
Paver
also
beyond the deck.
beyond the deck.
That has a separate setback requirement of 5 feet.
Right here. I see it now. So that has its own setback requirement for those types of improvements.
The ordinance specifically says.
Allows for that.
setback.
Okay, so the 24 feet runs through the paver area. Okay, now I understand.
If you think it says if you have a rear wall house, that's okay. That's the back.
I see it now. Okay.
So that starts from the edge of the deck to back.
Yes, correct.
24 feet is from the edge of the, far back from the deck to the back property.
Correct.
That's 24 feet.
That's correct. Patio and separate, setback. Right. What you,
it's it's an odd-shaped lot, as you can see.
You're gonna mark this?
It is more like 8 feet.
Well,
Because it was already part of the
it's
original.
already part of the
It's just
condition,
blown up.
it's just a bigger copy.
There is one,
Discouraged.
there's one change though. There's a date, there's a new date.
There is?
Yeah.
Yeah, the large size drawing that we received tonight supposedly is a blow-up of the postage stamp one that I received.
Yep. I can explain that. I actually had to, once, when I talked to Mr. Ed Alter, or I'm sorry, Jennifer,
Go ahead.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
so I think she requested last week that whether we can actually obtain a bigger copy than the letter size, or I'm sorry, the
there's
letter
no-
size.
Let me just be clear.
Yep.
There's no difference between this plan and the plan that you
Correct.
provided.
That's
Correct.
what I was getting
Yep.
at. This is the one you reviewed. Excuse me?
On the big plan,
Yes,
on the zoning block,
right,
we're going to propose,
right.
then go down to, maximum lot coverage, Pervious. Go across, you say 40.9%?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
You got the right plan.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
The rest of it, yeah.
So in reality, you did review this.
Correct. I did.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yep.
And just so the record's real clear, when if I have to prepare a resolution, this is last revised July 5, 2018. Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Tell my Lee Merlin, right about the plan. We had a discussion on this today. Okay. Is there anything else you wish to add?
No, that's it.
Okay. Mr. Skirvitz.
Very challenging rock.
Didn't see that.
On the side. Two reasons. The side yard setback, which is behind the house, makes the lot almost like a five-sided structure, shaped whatever that's called. And plus the house is situated in a non-conforming position, really close to the side yard to the left, and almost, there's enough rear yard, but it's the shape of the lot and the location of the house towards the left of the site. It makes it challenging to put these improvements on, although we did approve a second-story addition to maintain the building code.
Okay. Do you see any detrimental, anything detrimental?
I do not, I'll tell you why, because the first two variance requests are all the members are made. One, the side yard is holding the same side yard that's already there. The rear yard is 1 foot, less than the maximum, 25, or minimum, sorry, 25, is at 24. And then, the dual side yard has to be 18, that's 17. Again, only because, if this was a patio in its entirety instead of a deck, the only, variance they would have would be for the purpose. The decks aren't considered accessory structures, and also not to meet principal structure setbacks. As far as the coverage goes, we're adding that. And I personally, as a planner, don't see any exception to that property, but you're also taking at least one car.
Thank you, Mr. Skirvitz. I'll start on the left side of the slide. Councilman? Ms. Boland? No. Mr. Grasso? Go to Mr. Gibbons?
Just one question, so the addition that you did was this year, was completed this year?
Right. CO was issued back in February.
So then you're adding this outdoor space because of the addition on that, essentially?
And the kids, yep.
That's why this was put in when you did the addition. I guess you didn't need the outdoor space, that's why you're doing it now.
Right. The existing deck was fine. Kids actually liked it, but with the expanded outdoor space, it'll be more, quality of our parents' life. having
Because
insurance.
of that.
Yeah.
They did need it.
Yeah.
Mr. Sedaris. Mr. Kessler?
Good.
Mr. Gray?
You're widening the driveway also, that's the other.
That's correct, to park our cars on
Alright, so
our
between
driveway.
the two.
Yep.
Mr. Marvin? Okay, we always say pedestrian.
The driveway widening, is that, let's look at the garage in relationship to that. The existing garage, is that portion still being used as a garage, or was that original garage consumed with the new floor plan?
There was the original garage, that,
It's still a garage now?
right,
Okay.
yep.
All right. Okay. So you're not replacing what was a parking space before with one outside? You're just asking
No.
for an additional parking space?
Right.
Okay. You're only increasing the impervious coverage from what was permissible at 35% to a little over 40%.
Correct.
Yeah. It looks weird when you look at it because it's all pushed into the one corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it.
You're aware that once your plans are submitted to the town, the engineer will look at the plans. If he requires you to do any stormwater remediation, you're aware that you have to do that, correct?
I do.
Okay. And that'll be part of our memorialization as well. Anybody, any last minute comments? Okay, at this point, I believe we open to the public, correct? So a motion open to the public?
So moved.
Mr. Kessler, any second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstain? Seeing nobody in the public, motion to close the public.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Sarah? All in favor? Any opposed, any abstain? Okay, we're at the point of our meeting where we look for a motion for approval. Do I have Mr. Sedaris and Mr. Gibbons?
Got it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Canito?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Boland? Mr. Mearman?
Yes.
Mr. Crosso?
Yes.
Mr. Castleman?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
Yes.
Mr. Sedaris? And Mr. Gibbons?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I don't expect us to have a meeting the first week in August, but we'll have the memorialization ready for the third week. You're free to do what you want. As you heard the last applicant, it's up to you.
Sounds
Okay.
good, thank you.
Pleasure meeting you both.
You too.
Does that, any comments, questions from the board? Anything else? Anybody?
Why are those cameras so good?
Yeah, we have new cameras. They kind of look like Star Wars. Little guys. Or a little R2D2. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Any opposed? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstained? We're closed. Real quick.